number 4, the 2025 SEC football season officially here. This is the Overtime Drive, Thursday, September the 18th. It's Thursday night, which means pick 'em. We are locking in our picks for each and every single SEC game this weekend. Hello, I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Guys, as always, make sure, for those of you especially on YouTube, like and subscribe. We are on the race to 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. We can't do it without your love and support. So, again, you're watching this video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. As always, of course, we're brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet, as we currently speak right now. I am losing both of my bets here on this Thursday night, but that's okay. We still got a lot of ball left. And again, you can cash in on the winnings tonight, tomorrow, all weekend, all season long with our friends at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to get that $250 deposit bonus today. Once again, this is the Overtime Drive, SEC Unfiltered, SEC football show, the best SEC football show on the internet. It is Thursday, September the 18th, 2025. And once again, it's Thursday night. That means we're locking in all of our picks for week number 4. We have officially made it to week 4 season. A lot of juicy matchups on deck this weekend. And like we always say, there's no such thing as a sleepy slate. I know some of you have already labeled this one as such. Don't get caught in that trap again, folks. We saw what happened 2 weeks ago. Guys, I'm Chris Phillips, as always. Joining me, as he always does, my good friend, my co-host, my colleague, my partner in crime, Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Excited to lock in some picks with you. And we got a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about on this Thursday night. A lot of news coming out. And also, guys, leave us your questions, comments. We'll get to those throughout the show. But Bear, fire up a chat with you once again, my friend. What's going on?
Buddy, you know what's so interesting is that this is the week before the week, and not enough people talk about that. So next week, big time weekend. Everyone's mentioning how many highlight games we have in the world of college football. Potentially the coup de grace that is Alabama versus Georgia. We see that game every single year. We know what that matchup is. Are we not paying attention to just how many games could have massive implications on just the standings in the SEC? Or better yet, the way that we envision these teams going into the month of October. I mean, Vanderbilt, they have to play against Georgia State. We saw Georgia State last year win that football game. They just beat South Carolina. I mean, they just kicked the crap out of South Carolina. And then somehow, some way, Diego Pavia, like how he is Hugh Freeze's kryptonite. Kryptonite for him is Georgia State Panthers, who have a dreadful offense this year. What about South Carolina? There's news coming out about Lenore Sellers, news coming out about Mazeo Bennett. You got to feel a little bit more confident in what his role is going into Como this weekend. What about Jackson Arnold, the return game? A lot of people are pigeoning this up, and you and I both agree. Force Jackson Arnold to throw the football. What happens? You know, is this going to be a Bryce Underwood 2.0 situation? What if it's not? Like, what if instead this ends up being the breakout moment for Jackson Arnold? And the problem was always just the scenery that he was in. And now in a new location, he's playing a lot better. What if somehow, some way, we see Arch Manning have another dreadful start and they decide to turn in a different direction to sit him down? What if DJ Lagway actually gets hurt in this game and the backup quarterback, whether it be Harrison Bailey or EJ Warner, there's not enough film on them? What if they end up balling on out? So regardless, I know what next weekend is. I know that a lot of people are looking at what is going to be an epic Saturday in the close of the month of September. Don't sleep on this Saturday, because there is going to be something that happens that alters the way we're looking at the SEC on Sunday night when we do Sunday Fun Day.
X, Facebook, YouTube, where you can catch us live, those tuned in live. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Again, leave us your questions, your comments, everything. We'll get to those throughout the show, and certainly end of show. We'd love to take some of your questions and dive into those. Those listening via podcast, we appreciate all of you. You might notice, by the way, if you're tuned in live, and obviously, Bear, you do as well, this is not my normal setup. This is not my normal location. As David Taylor points out on Facebook, MIZ, we are officially boots on the ground in the land of the Missouri Tigers. There was a nice Mizzou floor mat when I walked into my Airbnb. We are in Como, boots on the ground. Yours truly is just miles away from Faurot Field. We are on deck to a fantastic weekend with Tigers and Gamecocks alike. The battle for the Mayor's Cup, going to be a ton of fun. Some say it's the land of Bear. They chant the names of Bear Thompson around these streets.
So here's the bottom line. I want to make this clear. Chris Phillips earlier today got a Grok AI version of himself.
Shout out to that guy.
Oklahoma fan. From an Oklahoma fan. I have been praising the name and defending Mizzou's honor for the better part of 2 years at this point. I have gone out of my way to go on multiple Mizzou podcasts and make it clear that the Tigers need to be respected. So all I ask in return is that if Oklahoma fans are going to be so kind-hearted to Chris Phillips, can one of my Mizzou brethren make a Gronk AI version of me? You can make it a bear with a backwards hat and the long flowing hair. I don't care, but I don't want him to have the one up on me with Oklahoma fans. Mizzou people, do your job. Help me out a little bit.
Bear, I got a couple comments from from Oklahoma fans when I posted the tweet, boots on the ground at Como, and they say it's not a rivalry, but I had a lot of Oklahoma folks freaking out to me, talking shit on the great people of MIZ. You believe that? It's unbelievable. So anyways, Bear, we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and dive into these game picks. Again, it is Thursday night, which means we lock in our pick 'em if you've never been here. And by the way, Bear, I do want to throw this out very, very soon. The Overtime Drive will be simulcast. Of course, it's still going to be on the main SEC Unfiltered feeds, but the Overtime Drive is going to have its own Twitter, own Instagram, own socials, own YouTube, everything in between. So you guys can go direct to the source to get the Bear and see Philly and get your fix 3 times a week during the football season, twice a week during the offseason. Heck, maybe more if we decide differently. So really exciting stuff as we continue to expand, we continue to grow. But again, without further ado, Bear, let's get into what the people are here for. That is us locking in some picks. Week number 4. Bear, I'm 38-5. You're 35-8. What do you have to say for yourself being 3 games behind your boy?
Taking Baylor was a definite choice week 1. Taking Toledo was a definite choice week 1. Ohio State was really the one that was, I think, a big difference here. Like, you picked Ohio State in week 1. Who did I have in week 2 that was like the difference? I don't remember off the top of my head because, like, I probably should have took Vanderbilt. Like, honestly, one of us should have taken Vanderbilt last week. It probably should have been me because the way I was hyping up Diego Pavia. I feel good. Not this week, because this week, again, you look at the board, it's very similar. I can catch 1 game on you, or we both are losing games.
Yeah, not a lot of ground to make up for you this week. But again, it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot to get into with this one. Let's go ahead and get it fired away, Bear. Let's start with the game. Arkansas at Memphis. Once again, Arkansas, as I pull up each of the lines, I believe a 7.5-point underdog in this game via our friends over at FanDuel. I'm going with Memphis. You're going with Arkansas. Let me go ahead and get this out of the way, Bear. Arkansas fans. I know, listen, they got me. They want my head in Fayetteville. They got a bounty out for me right now. I don't hate you guys. I promise I don't hate the Arkansas Razorbacks. Quite the contrary. Arkansas treated me with great hospitality last year. Whole lot of love. Bear, I love you. I don't trust you. There's a big difference here. I don't trust the Hogs. It is a reach. It is an upset pick. Here's the reality of it, though, Bear. For those that have seen the graphic, obviously you probably have at this point. For those who are watching, not every game is going to go. This Saturday is going to get weird. I'm banking on one of these games getting weird. I think it is this one. I think Memphis pulls the upset at Memphis, G5 over the SEC. You are going with the Hogs, trusting Talon Green, which I don't blame you for. And again, our friends are at FanDuel. Arkansas is a 7.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 60.5.
Yeah, well, it's also one of my best bets at -7.5. That's how much confidence I have in Talon Green. So your boy here, who apparently is hated by Hogs fans because I didn't give them enough praise last season, despite going 7-6. Again, I'm telling you right now, if you were to ask me today who is my favorite quarterback currently to watch in the SEC, it's Talon Green. You would ask me right now who is the best quarterback in the SEC. Check in on Monday when we do our updated top 10 quarterback rankings, but I will tell you right now, Talon Green is in the top 3, and he is in the top 2. Is he number 1 is the big question. The way he plays football and the way that he keeps every single play alive, I think just makes this such a unique matchup, especially for a team that we don't know a lot about. Memphis has been undefeated. Memphis can end up being a quality G5 program, but I'll tell you what, they haven't truly been tested. They have not gone up against an offense and a quarterback that's built like Talon Green. And while Talon Green certainly is going to have to do a little bit of everything, we've already seen him do that. I mean, last week, simply put, he was the offense out in Oxford. And I can tell you just by talking to a couple of people around the college football world, there's a slew of teams at Power 4 programs in the ACC, in the Big 12, and in the SEC. They're looking at what is year 2 of Taylen Green and asking themselves, why did we not go make an offer for him? Like, why did we not go out of our way to give him an NIL deal that was potentially worth millions of dollars more than what Arkansas could offer? Because if we may be in the college football playoff conversation at this point, we may be a favorite to win in the college football playoff at this point, especially our division. So when people tell you that, and you know that you're kind of backing up on your confidence on how good a player is, it's hard for me to doubt him. And I get it. It's in the Liberty Bowl. It certainly feels like a wild and wacky game, G5 program hosting an SEC school. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just look at who is the most important player on the field. And when he's out there, it's number 10. And so far, nobody's been really being able to stop him. Now, again, his team has been stopped, but truly look at the game. Has anybody been able to truly break down Taylen Green? Nope. So why am I going to doubt him at this point when he's going up against a competition that certainly on paper is at best same playing field, at worst severely under them?
And again, it's a reach from me, Bear. It's a reach. I want to be wrong. This is a pick I want to be wrong on. I cannot stress it enough, but your boy's thinking outside of the box a little bit here. Again, I'm going Memphis in the upset. You got Arkansas. Taylen Green, go prove me wrong. Bear, let's go to the game in Knoxville, Tennessee and UAB. We're both going with the Vols, as you would expect. Tennessee is a 39.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 69.5. I'll say this, Bear. I think this game, Tennessee's schedule could not have worked out better from a standpoint. Like, aren't you so glad you're not diving back into SEC play this week after the heartbreak you suffered against Georgia? Like, yeah. Because there's going to be some sort of hangover, but I don't know that you'll be able to see it or it'll be felt in a ball game like this. Again, it's an inferior opponent. All due respect to Trent Dilfer and the boys. It's an inferior opponent. It's an opponent you should be able to go beat up on, feel really good about, go score a bunch of points. Joey Aguilar, keep doing what he's been doing. I'm really glad for Tennessee the way this shook out, because if you were going to Starkville this weekend instead of next weekend, things could get a little funky, but we don't see it. Tennessee wins. Tennessee wins big. I would imagine we both agree in this matchup.
I'm going to be very intrigued to see how you slow down Jalen Kitna. That's been one of the only few things that's going for UAB. All 3 of his games, he has at least 2 touchdown passes, a completion percentage around 66, 67%. He did have 2 turnovers in one of his recent games. So, that's something that you can bode in your favor. Because the other thing that I will say, Tennessee, I'm not worried about this game. I think if they win, I think if they cover outright, I think if they're going to win big. But they have had their fair share of struggles against quarterback play, whether that be Steve Angeli, who threw for over 200-plus yards, and he currently is leading college football in passing yards per game, whether it be Gunnar Stockton last week. You've had your fair share of struggles with quarterbacks that fit the system. Jalen Kitna does that out in UAB. But I just think that you're taking out your pent-up aggression. Like, sometimes the best plan for anybody out there is to, unfortunately, going up against your next opponent, take out those pent-up feelings, those areas that drove you crazy for the last week. And it's not directed at them. It's directed at the team you recently played out on your current opponent. And that's just what I think is going to happen with Tennessee against UAB. Tennessee's pissed off that they found a way once again to keep the streak alive. It should have been over against Georgia. They should have won this game. They should have easily been able to walk away and feel confident, be sitting at an undefeated 3-0, and they just couldn't get the job done. So UAB, it's nothing personal, but this crowbar mentality that we're going to take out on you and then bludgeon you into pieces, it's not really directed at you. It's directed at Georgia, but they're not here to take the beating, and you just decide to show up to the party. So, hate to be the bearer of bad news. It's not going to be pretty. Shield your eyes. Tuck the kids away. Let's not let them look at what's going on with that team from Birmingham, Alabama, when they come into the house in Neyland.
Yeah, Bear, I was thinking about this on the way here. We talk best bets on Monday. We might need to Thursday, as we go through these games, add to that with late leans. Maybe it's not add it to the card, but late leans going in the weekend. Tennessee minus 39.5 looks really, really juicy, because I think they're going to keep it going offensively. I think that I think they're going to score. I think they're going to score in bunches. I think Joey Aguilar stays hot. And the only question will be, do they cover the 39.5? Do the backups have success as well? Because I do think it's going to be one of those kind of games. By the way, the Jalen Kitna reference, John Kitna's son, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
How about that?
Definitely not a kid that also, not a kid that you want to be friends with based on some things that we found out about him on the internet.
Ooh,
but what I will say is, again, he played at Florida, so add in, just pretend he's a Gator, like do that.
Oh, that's that kid. Oh, that's that kid. Ooh.
Yeah, it's that Jalen Kitna. So just pretend he's a Gator. Problem solved. You know what? It's a rivalry game in your opinion.
Yeah. By the way, P.S. Caldry in the comments. We are on late, live from Como, MIZ. He also asks, or he or she, Bear, have you recovered from eating the hot peppers yet?
I'm fine. I've barely gone number 2 since Sunday, but I'm fine.
Shot of hot sauce and a few peppers to the dome will do that to you.
I'll tell you what, it backs you up and it's supposed to clean you out, but it's that it is on a delay start. Like it'll be like Saturday afternoon, middle of doing the live stream of what we got with Arkansas and Memphis, and then here we go. All systems go. Let's fire away. Like that's what's going to happen. I can almost guarantee it at this point.
No pepper bets for the Bear this week. No pepper.
Not this week. We will find a new bet starting probably in 2 weeks. Let my stomach heal, and then we'll find something else to. If I'm wrong, I'll be able to do it once again. Because I'm not afraid as long as you hit the subscribe button.
Maybe something that doesn't compromise the Bears' health is all I'm saying. All right, let's go to the game in Norman, Bear. This is understood to be, and I would agree, it's the game of the weekend. Oklahoma and Auburn. The Prairie, or the Palace on the Prairie, will be rocking yet again. Oklahoma in this game is a 6.5-point favorite. Over under set at 46.5. We are both going Boomer Sooner, Bear. Both you and I have locked in Oklahoma -6.5. Each of us feel it's in our best bets. Bear, I'm confident, but does this one scare you a little bit from the standpoint? I have not seen anyone outside of the Auburn beat picking Auburn. Like it kind of worries me because it's like it feels too easy. It feels too easy. I'm still confident. Jackson Arnold coming into Norman. I don't see a path where he's going to get the win here. I think Brent Venables and company are going to have a great game plan defensively. I think they're going to get after him, forcing some mistakes. And I trust John Napier and what he's been. Again, like we mentioned, the preview, Bear, which again, guys, go check out all the preview prediction videos. They're all out there. We appreciate y'all running it up as always. But this is a big test for Oklahoma's offensive line again. It's an Auburn defensive front that's been very active, 11 sacks on the year. They lead the SEC in tackles for loss, so that's going to be a big test. But I trust John Napier, Brent Venables on the home field. But I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't getting a little nervous about this game just because it all feels like, from a national perspective, or at least a conference-wide perspective, it's like we're all on the same side in this game.
Have you noticed, like, people are talking about the Miami-Florida game? And there are a few, not saying a lot, but there are a few that say, well, I think that Miami is going to win, but Florida will cover. They'll beat that 17.5-point line. And, like, that's kind of the most. You don't even hear that when it comes to this Auburn game. It's Oklahoma's going to win. Oklahoma's going to cover. And the line has gone up since we put our bets in on Monday night. And people are still saying Oklahoma's going to win. Oklahoma's going to cover. And that's what makes me nervous. It's like not a single person's even saying Auburn's going to make this fight. Auburn's going to make this a battle. Can we admit real fast that as much as we think we know who Jackson Arnold is, a quarterback, we still kind of don't when it comes to the passing game? Like, can we admit that right now? Just a little bit, Chris Phillips?
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's two ways to look at it. They haven't had to throw it at a high rate.
Yeah.
They also just haven't done it. So it's like what we don't know is what we don't know here.
And so, like, here's the thing. What if he ends up having a phenomenal relationship and rapport with the deep shots downfield, Eric Singleton and Cam Coleman? And then you throw Horatio Fields into the mix and Malcolm Simmons is your wide receiver 4, and maybe you get a little bit of Perry Thompson added into the fold. And it's a game to where he's actually slinging it. You want to know what the difference is between the Michigan game and the Auburn game? Every single one of those wide receivers I just named, including Malcolm Simmons and Perry Thompson, who are rotational guys, would be the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in Ann Arbor. Like every single one of them would easily clear whoever is the top target in the Wolverines offense. It just would. And so, yeah, you took away the passing attack last week. I mean, 2 weeks ago when Bryce Underwood came down. And certainly there were some moments to where the explosive plays did happen. I mean, Bryce Underwood did have 4 passes of over 20 plus yards downfield. There was the big run by Justice Haynes to start the third quarter that at least made things interesting at times. 142 passing yards isn't great, but still you hit those explosives. That was with a bunch of has-been wide receivers. These are legit dudes. Like Cam Coleman, if he wins his one-on-one battle, he's not stopping at 25 yards. He's taking it to the house. And now we got a game going on. So that worries me a little bit. The other thing that worries me is, well, what happens if Oklahoma goes away from the rushing attack? Like, what if they say, okay, well, John Napier, we're going to trust you, and you got to be the first option through the air and the first option on the ground. And Blaylock and Barnes and Jaden Knott, sit back and watch what our quarterback does. And they just start to spy him. And they say, you know what? No, we're going to take away the run game. And then Auburn says, we know we could run it with Jackson Arnold, but we got a healthy Damari Alston. We feel pretty good about where we are with our other running backs. Like Jeremiah Cobb did a really good job last week. Let's see what he can do. And then they start toting the rock with their non-quarterback. So like those are things that do worry me, and they should be worrisome because there is a piece of this offense that has been untapped. And what happens when you crank down the pump and start blowing away and the beer starts falling out, but instead of beer, it's yards after contact. Like that's what we're saying. I don't think it's going to happen because I think I know who Jackson Arnold is. And again, I don't like this spot for Jackson Arnold playing at a location that has a lot of bad memories for him. But a part of me is sitting here and like kind of churning in my stomach and just saying, of all of our best bets that we made, if I could flip one, I probably would take out this game and I'd put in another game just because I think that Auburn's going to show you a little bit of fight going into the fourth quarter. Not it won't happen, but this is the one where it's like, yeah, just I got my feeling.
To be fair too, Bear, I think it's fair to doubt Auburn from the standpoint of you beat Baylor. Great. I still don't really trust Hugh Freeze in a spot like this. I really don't. So, boy, oh boy, the conversation can change on Auburn very, very quickly. If they go into Norman and win, Bear, we're having a totally different conversation next week about them and the college football playoff hopes and everything else. But, yeah, I agree with you. I don't like the spot for Jackson. I don't think this is the game against Brent Venables at their place. You find yourself in the passing game. So, we're both going to Oklahoma. Both feel good about it, but definitely keeping a close eye on this one again. The game of the day, arguably the game of the week happening in Norman. Bear, let's go to Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss and Tulane. Ole Miss, 12.5-point favorites. The over-under sits at 61.5, and we now know. Say it again.
Did you hear the news?
Trinidad Chambliss is getting the football. Trinidad Chambliss is getting the football. And this, I mean, you made the point in the preview, and I'd agree with you. If he goes down there and does it again, especially at the rate at which he did it last week, I think he's got to be your starter going into the LSU game. Austin Simmons, you hate for a kid to lose their job due to injury, but I think Lane Kiffin's also a guy where you're going to ride the hot hand. I think my question, Bear, in this game, it's a big spread. I think 12.5 is kind of a big spread because John Summerall is going to have his team ready to go. Can Trinidad Chambliss, and will he follow up what he did last week? What does he have in store for an encore? I think that's the big question. Also, about the issues they have defensively. It's one of the reasons that I love the over. They can't stop the run to save their lives. But you and I both going Ole Miss. But the spread is probably one I would stay away from.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I'm glad I didn't touch this game because of now Trinidad Chambliss is playing quarterback. Like,
does it make you feel that much worse about the game, though?
Yeah, I don't think the outcome. I still think that you are going to see Ole Miss walk away with a win. Yeah. Now, I will say this. Let's say last year with Jackson Dart out, this game was out in Oxford. And instead, you went to Ullman Stadium this year with Trinidad Chambliss. I may end up picking an upset. I really might, because if there's just something about it, I think that atmosphere, it's a good culture. More importantly, the fans come out for these type of games. I mean, they were out in droves last week when Duke took on Tulane. And maybe that's because of their former quarterback who's getting paid $4 million to actually, and I'm going to say this, and I don't really care because I still think he's a top 10 quarterback in college football, has looked good with nothing around him. So Darian Mensah, was he probably worth $4 million? No, but he's not the reason why Duke is struggling offensively. Still, that fan base shows on up. The game is in Oxford, so that gives you another advantage. But I will say, Jake Retzlaff on the ground, I know who he is as a quarterback. I have a year's worth of film from his time at BYU and how he has acclimated to this offense underneath John Summerall's system to feel confident. Yeah, he's going to trust his legs. He's going to be able to move and get to the second level of a defense. And knowing what Ole Miss's defensive line did last week, and knowing that they gave up over 100 plus rushing yards to another mobile quarterback in Taylon Green, could be interesting. And what if Trinidad Chambliss had that one-hit wonder performance? Or better yet, what if that says incredible volumes about what Arkansas's defense is? Like, we're going into that game. Kickoff is what, 2:30, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep, afternoon kick.
So it's at 2:30. What if we're coming off of watching Memphis put 500 plus yards on Arkansas's off defense? Like, what if that's the case? I'm not saying it will, but what if that is? Was it just the fact that Arkansas can't stop a run to save its freaking life? And then you have to wonder what happens with this with Jake Gretzlaff? Maybe. I don't think it's worth, I don't think you're changing your pick. I think Tulane is not going to be able to win this football game simply because of the talent level. But I will say, I want to see what Trinidad Chambliss does in an encore. That's going to be massive. And if it's not him, okay, well, now you got to go back to your rushing attack. You got like 3 dudes in Darian Taylor and Keelan Lacey, who's been awesome, and still Logan Diggs, who was a part of the team last year, but it was hurt. They're going to have to be the X factors on the ground. Can you move the football efficiently against Tulane's defensive front?
Yeah, no disrespect to Tulane, but I think a lot of this game, Bear, is what happens from this game and what it means for LSU. If Chambliss struggles, you're obviously, I still feel good about Ole Miss winning, but if he struggles, then we might have a little bit of a quarterback controversy on our hands going in the LSU game, a game where you feel like you're going to have to score despite some of the struggles LSU has had to this point. So either way, though, we're both going Ole Miss in this game to win. Stay away from the spread. Could get a little weird. Let's go to the game in Starkville, Bear. Mississippi State, Northern Illinois. Mississippi State is a 22.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 48.5. No surprise. You and I both going with Jeff Levy and the Dogs. I have gone as far as to even say Mississippi State covers the 22.5-point spread. NIU upset Notre Dame a season ago. Neither of us that bold to say that a big upset like that happens again. And Bear, the Dogs, if and when they beat NIU, will be 4-0, doubling the win total from a season ago through 4 weeks.
Christopher, they could be ranked going up against Tennessee. I don't think it happens because there would have to be a lot more chaos that occurs, but they could be ranked going up.
They're going to be right on the cusp.
What a world we live in. And also, give credit where credit's due. And I said this on the preview. Who would have thought that Mississippi State, the Bulldogs, the worst defense I have ever seen in the SEC, have a top 20 scoring, third down, total yards, and run defense in college football underneath Coleman Hutzler year 2. Like, so much of the focus has been on what Jeff Levy's offense looks like. And credit to that, because of Blake Shapen's been awesome. The run game with the addition of Fluff Bothwell has been great. You have 2 or 3 wide receivers that truly fit that type of veer and shoot, vertical passing downfield type of persona. But like, Coleman Hutzler's defense has been balling out. They've been getting after the quarterback. They've been making plays. They've barely given up over 300 yards in a game before. So I get it. It's Alcorn State. It's Southern Miss. It's Arizona State. And Arizona State really didn't have a good offensive identity outside of the ground game that day. Nothing was working through the air. Still, Coleman Hutzler, give credit where credit's due. I get it. It was 63-0 against Alcorn State. Regardless, you win this game and you shut down Thomas Hancock's Huskies, a team that last year went to South Bend, Indiana and got a win. I mean, number one, you doubled your win total. So automatically, Jeff Levy, props to you for doing that in the month of September. I mean, we're in September and you did that stuff. You probably got a quarterback that you can trust for the rest of the year. And you got confidence going into that matchup against Tennessee. And I would be so bold to say at that point, you just need 2 wins. I mean, that's it. You just need 2. And you're going bowling. Can you imagine that? How much of a difference we're talking about from a season ago, where this may have been one of only 3 wins on the year. And now it's like, we're playing with some house money. We got a little bit of fire. They're going to come back down to reality soon. But you know what? Until then, Starkville, suck this in, man. You deserve it. You truly do for how well you've started off the year.
Hey, keep winning. Starkville might be on the SEC Unfiltered Tour stops in 2025. You just never know. By the way, worst defense you ever seen, Bear, I raise you the 2023 LSU defense. I raise you that one. I know last year was bad, but I still raise you that one.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. It was the worst defense on a team that I knew had no hope. Because again, when you look at the LSU defense in 2023, LSU had an offense good enough to win a national championship, a defense that got them out of the playoff. There was no hope for Jeff Lebby's offense last year. And the defense has made it even worse of an eyesore.
They did. Yeah, good for Coleman Hutzler getting that thing turned around. Bear, let's go to the game down in South Florida, that being the Miami Hurricanes and the Florida Gators. Florida in all sorts of trouble early in this season, dropping back-to-back games to South Florida and to the LSU Tigers. Florida in this game, Bear, is wow, the spread has gone up. This spread has been sitting at 7.5 all week long. Miami is now an 8.5-point favorite. The money coming in on the Canes as we get closer to kickoff. Over under set at 51.5. Bear, we're both going with Miami. I will tell you this, though. I will not be surprised if Florida covers here. I can't pick them. I can't pick them because of the way they're playing right now. I cannot do it. But I will not be shocked if this is a close game. I know Carson Beck and Miami are red hot. Again, I can't pick them. DJ Lagway coming off a 5-interception game. It's just, though, I look at this Florida roster, so much talent on both sides of the football. Losing Caleb Banks for essentially the rest of the season, I think it is, or at least an extended period of time, really hurts. College game day is there, whatever that means. I think it's a close game. I think it's closer than expected, but we both like Miami, I think for obvious reasons in this one.
I took Miami to win, but I took the under in this matchup. And that's just a testament to what I think about this defense for Florida. I do think that Florida's defense is going to put Carson Beck in positions where he is going to have to win the game. I mean, they're going to be good against the run. They're going to be able to slow down. I mean, look at what they did last weekend against LSU with Caden Durham in that backfield. Outside of the big 50-yard run that closed out the game, I mean, they were averaging 1.6 yards a play. And so with Mark Fletcher, with Shamar Brown, if Jordan Lyle plays in this game, I think they're going to eliminate that element and they're going to say Carson Beck is going to have to throw through the air to win. And I think that he will because of the offensive personnel is a lot better than what it was last season out in Georgia. Malachi Toney, just a name in college football. If you love the sport, start to learn who he is because if he is going to be a factor, I think, in the ACC for years to come. Talented player who looks like a sophomore going into the end of his second year in an offensive personnel and some other weapons. The offensive line is one of the best in college football, but I still think that they're going to force Carson Beck to win this football game. And I think he's going to make some mistakes. I truly do. And it's not a shot at Miami. I think that Miami is going to end up winning. And I think they're going to show why they are a top 3 team in the country. But Carson Beck, I still think, is going to make some erratic errors that ultimately lead to Florida getting the ball back at prime position. Here's the problem. I don't trust DJ Lagway to get the job done and complete it. I don't expect DJ Lagway to capitalize on a short field advantage and be able to put it in the end zone. And I can tell you what, this is one of the best run defenses in college football. Not one of the best run defenses in Florida, one of the best run defenses, period, in the sport. And so Jaden Baugh, who in a game like this, where you want to take some pressure off of your quarterback, by all means, please, get him some help. You can't, because if you're not going to be able to run the football. So I think that, again, I could see this going down to the wire. But if you're asking me to pick a quarterback right now who I trust more, it's Carson Beck. And I think that's why Miami wins this game.
Barry, let's go to the game that I'm at. Columbia, Missouri. The SEC Unfiltered Tour is officially boots on the ground in Como as Missouri and South Carolina do battle. The battle for the Mayor's Cup, as they're known. Mizzou, a 9.5-point favorite. The over-under set at 48.5. But, Bear, you might notice this spread has gone down. Missouri at one point was a double-digit favorite of this game. I think it got up to 11.5. Now down to 9.5. Large part of that reasoning could be the status of quarterback Lenoris Sellers for the Gamecocks. Shane Beamer tonight on his Thursday night coaches call-in show. This coming via Jordan K. of the State said the health of quarterback Lenoris Sellers and wide receiver Mazeo Bennett are, quote, trending in the right direction, end quote. Now, I'm going to say this, Bear, for anybody who's followed South Carolina football under Shane Beamer or just in general for any extended period of time knows that is far from a guarantee that Lenoris Sellers is going to play. little bit of gamesmanship. I think you and I even talked earlier in the week. Like, even if you know he's not going to play, you're not going to come out and say that. But it does sound like, from the people that are boots on the ground in the other Columbia, it does sound like there are positive reports coming out that Lenoris Sellers will go in this football game. You and I are both going MIZ. Again, the spread has come down. You have to think it's reaction to the Lenoris Sellers news. If Sellers does go, how does that change your mind about this football game? I mean, I said on the prediction video, I think either way MIZ wins. I just think with the way Missouri is playing offense right now, here's the problem, Bear. The offense hasn't been good with Sellers in. So maybe they turn a corner, but I just, again, kind of going back to, the thought process I had with Auburn and Jackson Arnold, like, this isn't the place to find yourself. Como against Corey Batoon's defense, I don't think is the place to find yourself, but we both agree, obviously, you got a whole lot better shot if Lenoris is in there than if you're turning to a Luke Doty or somebody else. At least we saw what he did last year, what Sellers did last year to the Missouri defense. The guy was a magician. He was a straight-up witch out there with the way he was evading tacklers and breaking tackles, and, who could forget that game, obviously, the ending with the Rocket Sanders touchdown. Again, you and I both going MIZ as we've gotten later in the week, and now we're getting updates on Sellers. Has your thought process or the way you feel about this game changed at all?
What I would have done if knowing that Lenoris Sellers was going to be playing in this game, I would have made one of my best bets be South Carolina with the points. Just because I think that, again, it's a moment where your backs are against the wall. You're a proud program. You're going to do everything in your power to make sure that this is at least battle to the finish line like it was last season. And I think that just speaks volume of what these two fan bases and what these two programs and two coaches want to set a tone for. I mean, last season, we watched as Mizzou was able to catapult its way back in and get that big Luther Burden touchdown to take the lead with under 2 minutes left. And what was the response? Okay, we're going to go down the field and we're going to score now. So that's where I feel like that is what you would get. But we didn't know what Lenoris Sellers' status is. And to be completely fair, we still don't know what Lenoris Sellers' status is. So he may end up not playing. And even if he does play, what version are we getting of him, Chris? Are we getting 50% that has to stay in the pocket, and then when he sees the offensive line collapse, he just goes down to a knee and avoids the hit? Or is he playing like vintage Lenoris Sellers that we saw against Virginia Tech, where making plays behind the line of scrimmage and then stiff arming a poor cornerback into the ground? Because let's just be real. I mean, that's what's going to happen if he's out in the open space. That's where I have my concern. But the main thing is that right now, South Carolina's offense isn't showing me much. I mean, they rank 83rd or worse in almost every single category, and they're relying so heavily on special teams to be a factor in this game. And I think that when you look at it from the perspective of what did Mizzou do really well in the second half against Kansas, they shut down their mobile quarterback. He had a touchdown run, but really outside of that, if he was finding any success, it was through the air, and even then, it was very limited. I mean, the rushing attack, they gave up under 100 yards. They averaged less than 1.7 yards a play. And this is a good defensive line going up against a very, very, very underwhelming South Carolina offensive line. Now, at the same time, we could say South Carolina's defensive line can get after Mizzou in the run game, like it could happen. But regardless, I mean, I'm just looking at this from the perspective of, if you take away the best element of Lenoris Sellers and force him to stay in the pocket, who's your wide receiver that you're trusting? I mean, yeah, maybe Mazeo Bennett if he's fully healthy in this matchup. Definitely Nick Harbor needs to be an X factor in this game. But do you really think one of these freshmen is going to have the breakout moment at Farote Field in front of these fans? I just don't see it. Even if Lenoris Sellers plays, I still think that MIC wins because of the way that these two offenses look. And by the way, whether or not Bo Pabula gains national attention in the eyes of the folks that truly are paying close eyeballs on what is Tiger football, he will have guaranteed a top 3 spot in my rankings next week for our updated top 10 quarterback list because he's already there. And honestly, I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the country right now. And we need to be talking more about what Bo Pabula is.
Yeah, we're spending so much time, and I mean, it is understandably so, talking about the status of Lenoris Sellers and how this impacts this football game. More so the reason Mizzou, I think, wins is because of what Mizzou is doing. I mean, You look at the way they're playing offense right now. I agree with you. Bo Prabula, one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC. He looks confident. He looks fluid. He looks crisp. Ahmad Hardy, you could argue, is the SEC's best back. They've got weapons on the outside that have stepped up and are emerging. Brett Norfleet at the tight end position. Caden Green, somebody did point out, Caden Green is on the injury report. If he is out, that is a factor for sure. Dylan Stewart breathing down Bo Prabula's neck, that could be a factor. But I agree with you, man. Listen, and I don't think this is a bold take, but I'm going to say it anyways. South Carolina, Bear, they cannot win this football game unless they have a defensive score or a special team score. So if you're Missouri, I think if you just play a clean football game, you're going to win. Now, that said, this is a spot. South Carolina, they are very well known for when everybody's doubting them and everybody's picking against them. They win a game like this. I just don't see it in this one. Again, with the way you're trending, the way you've been playing offensively, you're just going to have to prove it to me offensively. Mike Shula has not shown anything that, again, even when you had 110% healthy Lenora Sellers, they've shown nothing offensively. What makes you think they're just going to all of a sudden click it on? And Bear, I think you're going to have to score, I think, 27 plus to win. And I don't see a world where without, if you're South Carolina, I think to keep up, I think you're going to, because Mizzou is going to get theirs. I just don't see a world in which all of a sudden the light bulb clicks on for without those special teams or defensive scores. I think you're going to have that to keep up because this Mizzou offense is for real, I think. So
the one thing I will say in favor of South Carolina, and I'm not trying to play favoritism, but the thing that you are going to be able to take from last week's game is you try to play, I think, too conservative with who Diego Pavia is, knowing his mobility. You also got to remember, Bo Prabula can scoot. Like, Bo Prabula is not known for being an elite runner. Now, last season, again, in that, the Nebraska game, if I'm not mistaken, when he filled in at Penn State, or the Wisconsin game, he was utilizing his legs. The guy is going to throw the football, but we saw the same play in the Central Arkansas matchup. He is not afraid when near is an open lane to tuck and run. So if you can eliminate his legs and then trust that Jamal Roberts and Ahmad Hardy are going to be maybe limited going up against the linebackers, I think you stand a shot. But I am in total agreement with you. A non-offensive touchdown is going to have to happen in this game, I think, for South Carolina to even make this close, especially if you don't have Lenora Sellers. And now I also want to know, what is the plan at quarterback if you don't have Lenora Sellers? Please, for the love of God, tell me, just even though it has been reported that he has been at practice, he has been running reps with the ones, please tell me that there has been at least one moment throughout the last several days Aaron Nolan has gotten a few pass attempts with the first team offense. Please. Because if you go to Luke Doty, the game's over.
A lot of Gamecock fans going to cut the game off if Luke Doty trots out there at quarterback. And I understand it. By the way, Bear, it's a blackout Saturday night at Faroe.
Yeah.
You like that? You big
I thought we were going to
white out, stripe out.
I love that stuff. I do. I think it adds more validity to the home crowd. I think it adds more ambiance to what
adds
is
some
the
juice in the stadium for sure.
It 100% does.
Yeah, I was told I had to wear black, so I'm glad.
So I personally will say I love everything about the whiteout game at Penn State, and I think that it's a staple. It's a staple moment. It truly is. And everyone who is a college football fan, whether or not you root for the SEC or you root for the Big 12. If you find your way to State College, go to a whiteout game. It is just an atmosphere that's built like no other. I like that Mizzou is wearing all black and they're pretending like they're going to a funeral. The other thing that is important, and I'm glad that P.S. Crowdy brought this up, no Craig in this game. Remember, out for the year, their kicker. So if this comes down to a field goal, I'm not saying I say South Carolina's kicker is better. What I'm saying is I know that South Carolina has a good field goal kicker, because Blake Craig's out for the year. And that's a big, big deal. Special teams are going to have a factor in this game. They're going to have to, knowing the stats of both these sides.
Indeed. I agree with you. And I will say this. I like the traditional color games, like the whiteout at Penn State. That one's obviously iconic. The checkering of Neyland that I just went to. I even like the stripe out at Oklahoma. You just got to pick and choose your spots. If you don't do that traditionally, and you're just going to throw a blackout out there or a whiteout or whatever. A lot of this sparked by Georgia, Barstool, Georgia, pushing that a blackout next weekend for Georgia, Alabama. That's my other caveat there. That's my other rule. If you've done a color route against a specific team, and they came into your place and kicked your ass, maybe retire that.
Yeah.
Maybe retire it, because Bama fans have been fired up all week seeing it. Obviously, we'll talk more about that game next weekend, but I don't think Georgia's going to get behind a blackout for the Crimson Tide coming to their place. Not after what happened back in 2008, I believe it was. So,
I mean, how many times have they done it? It always happens. So let's go with that. Whenever they do the blackout game against Bama.
Yeah, fair enough. Bear, let's go to the game in Nashville, Tennessee. Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores are ranked in the top 25 for the first time. I'm just going to say in a long time, because I don't know exactly when it was, but my goodness, Vandy's in the top 25.
It was last year.
Was it last year they were ranked?
Yeah, they were ranked last season.
I don't remember that.
They were ranked for the Texas game. They were ranked for the game that you were at, I believe.
Why did I forget that? We didn't make as big of a deal as that, I guess.
I think because of
maybe they were 25.
I think it's because of they were only at number 25 when that match.
Well, that's my bad. My bad, Doors. I apologize. Look at me being disrespectful of the Doors like that.
Number 25, 27-24 final score in Nashville that year.
And they dropped him out just like that, even though they
immediately dropped him right afterwards. And that was why. But again, they were ranked last season.
Well, hey, Vandy's 20th now. Vandy's
still too low, in my opinion. Still too low.
Firmly in the top 25. Vandy hosts the Georgia State Panthers. And Bear, folks might gloss over this game. Hey, folks in Lot 2, folks in Nashville, folks in the West End, they're fired up because this is a revenge spot after what happened last year at Turner Field, you might recall. Vandy's a 27.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 53.5. Bear, we are both going with the Doors to stay red hot, keep the winning ways going in Nashville. This is a lot different scenario than the game last year. I feel like at Turner Field, again, you're a 4-touchdown favorite. I think Vandy covers. I think they're going to put belt to ass. Big revenge spot. Diego Pavia, that entire team, and Clark Lee, they want to get one back for what happened a season ago. I think they do so. I think they do so in emphatic fashion. Again, you and I both going with the Commodores.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Diego Pavia, I think, will treat every single game like it is a revenge game because of everybody doubted him. Like, I think that's more so, and not because of a win or a loss. I think it's because of people still doubt it. There's people right now who say Vandy belongs at like number 25 at best. Like, we overrated South Carolina instead of giving credit where credit's due to Vanderbilt. So even though I could see Georgia State, if they were a good team, make this a battle, number one, Georgia State's offense is putrid. I mean, it is single-handedly one of the worst offenses in college football. Its defense is worse. I mean, Chris, their defense ranks in the bottom 10 in almost every single category right now. So it's like, I can't even sit here and be like, oh, Diego Pavia has to do all these things. No, Georgia State's going to give you the ball. They're going to give you the game if you let them. So he's just going to be playing with an unyielding, relentless fashion. Because think about this. You win this one, and you win next one, and you're going to Tuscaloosa at 5-0 with a game away from being bowl eligible in the middle of October. Who would have thought that was going to happen? Like, there have been some surprises. I think that we could firmly agree that the inability to throw the football by DJ Lagway has been a surprise. I think we can agree that as good as the defense of LSU has been, the offense for LSU has not been great. A big surprise is Vanderbilt's going to have a shot to be 5-0 and with a better record than Alabama going into the Alabama game. And if somehow they win that one and somehow Alabama loses to Georgia, they could be out of the college football playoff again. That's a surprise in itself. Vandy's going to win this game. They're going to cover. It's one of my best bets of the week.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big celebration on Saturday night of number one, getting revenge. Number two, Vandy being ranked in the top 20 and just everything they're doing at this point. But yeah, they're going to win. They're going to roll. I think they're going to cover. Bear, let's go to the game down in Baton Rouge. LSU and Southeastern Louisiana. Shout out to our guy, Blake Ruffino, a Southeastern alum, by the way. Was talking to him today on the way to Como, Bear, funny enough. I don't think there's a more disgruntled fan base of a 3-0 team in the country because, once again, they are 3-0. But because of the offense's struggles, starting with the quarterback position, going to the run game, its ineffectiveness. I mean, you talk about statistics and rankings. They rank nearly outside of the top 100, I think outside of the top 90 in most offensive statistics. They are really, really frustrated with the offense. Defensively, obviously, they've been spectacular. You and I both going LSU. There's no question they're going to win this football game. I even asked him today, hey, is there even a remote chance that LSU could struggle with Southeastern? He said, no, Southeastern is just horrific. This is going to be LSU putting on a clinic, or at least it should be. By the way, Bear, I did not see a line for this game earlier in the week. FanDuel, God bless their souls, has dropped a line for this game. Normally you don't.
They actually dropped a line.
They dropped a line, and the spread, Bear, LSU is a 39.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 51.5. LSU should cover. They should. But it's kind of the same thing with Texas right now. It's like, I just don't know. I don't know what. And now we've got the Garrett Nussmeier thing. And I want to talk about this for just a second. So he's got, per Brian Kelly, a quote-unquote torso injury. What does that mean? I don't know. There's a lot of things on the torso. I don't know exactly what that means. I got to be honest with you, Bear. It feels more like an excuse. It feels like a cop-out to why the offense has struggled, why he struggled, why he's been inconsistent. Because if the injury was that severe, he wouldn't have played in the first 3 games, and he wouldn't be playing in this one. And per Blake and per the rest of those folks down there, he is going to play in this football game. So LSU's going to win. Again, it's more so about how does it look? Is the offense able to get something going, run the football effectively, build some positive momentum? But again, even talking to him today and other folks down there, they kind of feel like none of it matters because Southeastern's a team you should dispose of with ease. The real test comes next week in Oxford against Ole Miss. Are you able to move the football in that one in an SEC contest? But it's very interesting times in Baton Rouge because, like I said, LSU sitting at 3-0, but if you talk to their fans for more than about 30 seconds, you wouldn't know that.
I think he is hurt, personally. I do. I think you look at, and I went back and I watched some of his tape last week. His throwing motion's off. You can definitely see that he's wincing when he goes through certain progressions. So it's like, I don't think he's as hurt as Brian Kelly wants to make it out, but I do think that he is not playing at 100%. And for this stage of the season, with who you've gone up against, with the quality competition, it probably isn't good that you're already banged up, because if you still have a daunting task ahead to take on not only Texas A&M, but also Alabama in their backyard, you got to face off against a couple of other quality teams. Vanderbilt no longer is a surefire win. So it's like there's an opportunity for you to really, I think, sit him and rest him, but you're choosing not to, which is a little frustrating in my opinion. Like, I think he's going to play, and I think that he may play the first quarter. Let's just say that LSU jumps up to a 28-0 lead after the first 15 minutes. Do you need to see more? Because, like, here'd be my theory that, like, I would just absolutely hate. What if an offensive lineman misses a block and Nuss gets taken down by a Southeastern Louisiana Lion defensive lineman? And it's a Super Bowl moment, so he is not holding back. Like, I get to take down the best quarterback in college football in some people's metric. Okay. Well, now he's really hurt. And you're going into Oxford. And you're going into a location that is a revenge game for Lane Kiffin because they were leading the entire time until the very last play. I mean, do you really want to take that risk? So once you get up to a substantial lead, Michael Van Buren better be in the game. Like, and honestly, Michael Van Buren should start, in my opinion. I know he's not going to, but he should. Because the last thing I want to do is put my team in jeopardy by going toward my backup quarterback in a matchup that right now is going to have implications on our standings in the conference. I just would like to avoid it as much as possible if need be.
Yeah, let's see the LSU run game get going. I mean, I think for LSU, you need to run the football at an effective clip. Again, you're not going to be able to draw any conclusions from this game, but you got to build up some positive offensive momentum going in that Ole Miss game. The defense dominate. It'll be a fun night down in Baton Rouge. Also, Bear, I want to address this comment really quickly because D-Love5, I don't want to set the Mizzou weekend off on a bad foot. He says, kind of a weird take with the blackout comment. Mizzou has done this traditionally, blackout, gold rush, etc. I'm a fan of the color games. I wasn't on the attack on Mizzou when I brought this up. I just think it's a fun topic. I was talking about the Georgia idea of a blackout. I have no problem with it. All I said was you just got to pick and choose your spots with it. I'm excited to go to a blackout personally. So I want to make that very clear because I don't want my MIZ folks thinking I'm coming here and talking shit on y'all. I'm not doing that. I think it's an interesting topic because some people love it. Some people think it's gimmicky. Some people hate it. I don't know. It's just something fun to discuss. But I'm excited.
It's something. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's excited. I'm excited to go to a blackout. I am. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bear, finally, Texas and Sam Houston. This shouldn't be a game we talk about as much as we're about to, but we have to when Texas has looked god-awful in their last 2 games, especially last week, specifically at the quarterback position. Arch Manning was just downright dreadful against UTEP. You and I both going Texas, obviously, to win this football game against Sam Houston State. By the way, Texas is a 39.5-point favorite. The over-under is set at 51.5. Bear, Vegas continues to put these big spreads on Texas. I think that's probably just the biggest question in this game. Do they cover? How does it look? Does the offense get going? Can Arch Manning really be that bad again?
Do you want to know why they put this many big spreads on Texas?
Because they want to make money?
No, because we're idiots and we still pick Texas every week. I mean, seriously.
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it with a 10-foot pole. I don't know what to expect from Texas.
After the San Jose State game and the fact that you couldn't cover that one against a team that lost to Central Michigan that got mollywopped by a non-direct offense in Michigan that can't pass the football to save its bleeping life, and you couldn't cover that spread? No, I'm done touching Texas. I'm not taking them with the points. I refuse to think that they can cover. But like at this point, can Arch just get back to his normal ways? Like I made the joke whenever we were doing the preview earlier, and I said, did you ever watch Toy Story 3?
Yes, a while ago.
Yeah, okay. So do you remember where Lotso, the bear that's like the villain, he sets Buzz in factory reset to where he truly believes he's once again a space ranger, and he forgets all of his memory. Like, Sark needs to reset, factory style reset, Arch Manning just playing quarterback. Like, that's what he has to do. He has to find the button and just go factory reset and let him learn from the basics. Fundamentals. I mean, like, honestly, in this game, it shouldn't be much to win. I mean, this is one of the worst defenses in college football. Sam Houston State's dreadful. I mean, they gave up over 700 yards to Western Kentucky. I think they rank 134th out of 136 in pass defense. This should be a game where Ryan Wingo is winning his one-on-ones. DeAndre Moore is apparently out of concussion protocol, so he's going to be back for this game. Parker Livingston is just cruising. Somebody else, whoever is a breakout player. Maybe Emmett Mosley comes back. We still don't know his stats for this game. Jack Endries, your other tight end. This should be a game where you are just finding your avenues and your creases and just waiting for that ball to come into your breadbasket. But like the problem is, you got to see Arch be able to deliver the shots. That's what this really comes down to. Because I'll tell you what, tonight on my show, before we got on here, I had E. Henry, our buddy from 247 Sports on, and we were talking about what's the thing that you really need to look at for Arch in this game. You need to know that he's comfortable in not just the playbook, but more specifically, he's comfortable in delivering the easy shots, just the dink and dunk passes. Because if he can't do that right, regardless of how you feel about what's going on down in Gainesville, Florida has a defense that will easily put you in a position to where they're going to make this a battle. And then you got Oklahoma afterwards in Red River. And Oklahoma's defense is going to put you in a position that's a battle. So, honestly, this is an Arch game. Like, I don't worry about their defense. I don't worry about the receiving room. Offensive line is what it is at this point. I think it'll be fine. But, like, if you do not feel confident in your quarterback going into the bye week, you have some serious problems. And I'm genuinely not even talking about the status of Arch. I mean, I'm not talking about Texas like being in an SEC contender. I'm talking about college football playoff one. Like, we are literally a couple of throws away from me saying Texas Bowl champion, the University of Texas, in a year where people picked them to win the Natty. I mean, didn't you pick them to win the Natty this year?
I did. I picked Texas to win the national title. Feel pretty silly about that right now.
Hey, Alabama's not looking that much better, but still, somewhat.
This is a big game for the Thompson household. Also, I believe the first lady is a Sam Houston State alumni.
Well, you know what they say about Sam Houston fans, right?
I don't.
They're Texas fans. They couldn't get in Texas. That's what they say. So it's a bunch of Texas fans going to be inside of a stadium.
No pride in the Bearcats. How dare
No pride in the Bearcats. Not anymore. Not since Casey left to go to Temple.
Hey, Bear, got a fun one for you.
All right.
Our friends over at FanDuel have a passing yardage prop for one Arch Manning. You want to know what the number is? You want to know what the number is? What would you guess the prop is? Wait, if you were setting the over/under passing yard total for Arch Manning, what would you put it at?
195.
Arch Manning's passing yard total prop over/under 258.5 yards.
What are you picking?
I'd have to go under. I mean, how can I go over? How can I go over?
The reason you can go over is
like 114 yards last week.
The reason you could go under, the reason you could go over is because Sam Houston State is 133rd in pass defense. They give up 316 yards per game. They give up a passer rating of 174.4, and they're giving up 9 touchdowns through the year. That's why you could take the over.
All right, let me ask you this. If he goes under that total, I mean, I guess there's a world where he goes like 12 for 12 for 188 and they pull him. But let me just say this. Take the total off. If Arch struggles again, because I don't know that people are really hitting the panic button yet.
They're not.
What's the panic level in your mind if he struggles again?
Is he the reason that they're struggling? So let's just say that a wide receiver, let's just say like he has 3 deep shots down the field and they're right in the breadbasket, but Parker Livingston drops 2 and Ryan Wingo drops another. Am I panicking on that? No, at that point, I won't. I will be panicking if he is continuously throwing it at their feet, if his feet aren't set, if the sidearm motion you're watching, and Jordan Rogers brought this up, and I thought this was a really good point. You want to know who he's playing a lot like right now? Quinn Ewers. Here's the problem. Quinn had an offensive line that sent 4 dudes to the NFL draft. He also had a first-round wide receiver and a safety blanket at tight end and Gunnar Helm. He also had a good guy in Isaiah Bond and Silas Bolden. He was more proven at that point, so he could get away with playing that way. He can't do that when you have this supporting cast around you. You don't have that opportunity. So I would be at about an 8 at this point if he struggles in this game, because it's not all him. The wide receivers, E. Henry brought this up. Ryan Wingo missed a lot of the spring. He missed part of fall camp. A couple of other receivers haven't been at practice, weren't at practice for all the spring. The other thing is that you got to remember they've been down one of their running backs. CJ Baxter left the game last week. He's not playing in this game this week. So there's been a lot of things that haven't been going right for the offensive personnel when it comes to Texas. But Arch is the main part of it. That's it.
Our friend Sandman, who I do want to point out in the comments, Bear, shout out to Sandman. I was hanging out with him in Columbus for the Texas-Ohio State game. I feel like this really kind of encapsulates the way the Texas fans feel. He says, I got to see it to believe it from Arch at this point. I'll be at the game. If we can't score 42-plus points on Sam Houston State, then I will snap violently. I think that is how a lot of Texas fans, and they don't play, Bear, till 7 o'clock Central. Yeah. I almost feel like this is a game you'd rather get out of the way at 11 a.m. because they're just going to be sitting there all day like, God, I hope we don't look like shit tonight. Like, you know what I mean? It's like one of those you'd rather just get it over with. Eat the frog, they like to say. Just get it over with, right? Like, get this out of the way. You got to sit there all day, wait. Yeah, I will be I will be seriously concerned if they look dysfunctional on offense again. And he's right, too. He points out in the comments, it is Arch, but like at every level they look bad.
On offense right now.
It's the coaching. It's every play calling. It's everything. It's everything. So you got to think the Horns get it going this week. We shall see. Again, we both have Texas. It's not about them winning. It's about how it looks on the offensive side. Bear?
Are you a when riding a roller coaster, are you a front person or a person type guy?
I like both, but I'd love to sit in the front. Yeah.
See, I'm a back person type of guy, but like, I feel like that the back people are the ones that are brave enough to be able to handle any situation, because if you don't know what's coming, that's like Texas fans this week. It's like, I'd much rather be in the front and have an 11 a.m. kick, because I'm going to be about, pretend this is tequila, 19 of these deep, having my thoughts. And I'm going to have some very dark thoughts if I do not wake up and see this offense come to life.
Yeah, I'm going to have some. The Tito's consumption is going to be at an even higher rate than normal in Austin.
Holy
for
crap. I mean, you're going to see rocket sales on what happens with Texas, especially with that. They're going to make Arch pay for it too.
Guys, those are our week 4 picks. Pick'em continues to rage on. Bears not catching me this week. That's the good news. But we'd love to hear from you. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? What are your picks for the week 4 slate? Are there any big-time upsets that maybe we didn't hit on that you think are going to happen? Because, again, this slate, call it sleepy if you like. Call it underrated. Things could get very chaotic and very crazy, no doubt. Bear, let's get into some news and notes as we close out the show. Again, a couple things coming out today I know you wanted to hit on, and I definitely want to touch on this as well. Big college football news, not just SEC news. College football is officially moving to a single off-season transfer portal window. This was announced on Wednesday. This is coming, by the way, from ESPN.com. The D1 Administrative Committee voted to approve a legislative change that eliminates the spring transfer window, but did not sign off on establishing January 2nd through 11th as the lone portal window for FBS and FCS. I believe they are advocating for that for the January portal window, and that being the only window. It looks like in a response to feedback from student athletes, they're going to discuss modifying the dates and length of that proposed January window. But the bottom line is this, Bear, no more spring portal window. Your thoughts? I don't know how you could dislike this. We need less of the portal windows. There were too many windows. I'm really glad that, and I think this is going to help the coaches more than anything. It's going to help the coaches significantly. You got to have a portal window because we have the portal, but have one, get it over with, make your decision. Let's go play ball outside of, obviously, if your coach gets fired or whatever happens, change of that nature. Your thoughts on one portal window moving forward in college football?
It's just smart. I think it's smart for a lot of reasons. Number one, it also creates more parity. So what's going to be interesting is to look at GMs and see how much money is allocated toward the portal in NIL funds, where they will go out of their way to figure out, here's how much we can spend on building our roster. You can't go out and get that guy in the middle of in the middle of April for the spring portal because if your safety position still is dog crap. Like, that's just a problem. Like, you are eventually going to have to realize that there are players that you're going to have to truly decipher, is he worth that actual bargain price? Or is he worth spending this amount of money and missing out on a different position? So several programs that we look at that may end up not getting all the stars could now get maybe one elite star, which is good for the sport. And it creates more, I think, opportunities for more parity in the industry. The other thing is that it allows you to build your team. It gives you as much time as possible to figure out, where are you as a roster and as an organization going into the regular season? And now you're going to have to just roll with the punches. So that's another thing that gives you more time. And also, you get to see players not opt out of the spring game. Because one of the things that was really frustrating was you were going through drills and you were going through offensive plays and you were getting things ready in practice that you thought was going to be on display when you took the field come week 1. But deep down, we all knew, well, they're not playing they're not playing in the spring game. They're not going to be out there anyways. Have to be a practice because of the portal's not open yet. But we have to now go into the process of this wide receiver, and this wide receiver are gone. Now we have to go and look for another wide receiver from a different level, from the FCS level at this point. And maybe we're overspending in NIL. So I think it does a good job of being able to construct your rosters, figure out where your faults are. And the other thing is that I do think that this is good for the sport because of truly you as a player who has that 14-day period will have to decide, is this the right fit for me? Because the other thing is that when you enter the portal, if the program wants you back, they will allow you to come back to the school. So now you have to truly feel like the move that you are making is the best course of action for you. Because number one, once you enter the portal, you're in the portal and you can't come back to the other school, you may end up going to a terrible situation. It may be Nico 2.0. But the other thing is that once you make that decision, you're stuck with it for the next full year. You can't be going in the spring and saying, oh man, this offensive personnel is this dog crap. I don't fit the system at all. I'm going to go transfer again. No, you made this call. So I think that more kids and more players are going to be choicely. They're going to be more direct on how they feel about the portal. And I don't think you're going to see as many kids make that jump on it because they're going to realize, if I go, I'm gone. And it may be an even worse situation for me.
More picky for sure. More
Yeah,
particular where they
I
go.
will say what's going to be interesting is when is the portal window going to happen? Because of right now, we still don't have an answer on that. There's a couple of SEC coaches that say middle of December, a couple say after the college football playoff. And I get part of it, it's because the school's already in action and you got to get registered for classes. But like, imagine how many teams last year may have had a secondary player that could have been a superstar for them in the playoff. But they realized, I got to go to the portal and I got to look out for me because by the time that, we get done with the playoff or maybe we're eliminated, the portal window's closed. So that's going to be really interesting is the timeline of when the portal is open, because you're also going to have teams out there that may end up like Texas. Texas got a lot of its players this past spring from the portal. Like, they did not get that many during the winter practices. They got them in the spring because there was so much focus in on the playoff. And so all their attention was derived to making sure we were ready to go for our next game, not for next season. So that's also going to be interesting is what is the timeline? Not just for the players that are currently looking for a new home, but also the teams that are fighting for a national championship and still want to have a playoff. I mean, want to be in the playoff next season.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, Bear. The timing of it all. I will say this. I love it because give me less of the things I don't love about college football.
Sure.
The multiple portal windows is certainly one of them. Bear, the other big news, our friend Brandon Marcello over at CBS Sports reported this earlier, along with many others, but his was the first that we saw. The SEC will reveal on Tuesday, yes, next Tuesday, all opponents for every team in its new 9-game schedule for football in 2026. Sources tell CBS Sports the 3 quote-unquote permanent rivals will be referred to as annual opponents, which will be reviewed every 4 years. So we are getting, I believe, the full 2026 schedule. More importantly, we are getting the 3 permanent rivals. Also, by the way, this being revealed on Tuesday, I'm sure SEC Network's doing some huge show for it, everything. Yeah. That means you're going to get a bonus overtime drive on Tuesday night. I have a strong feeling of that, which we'll be excited about because we get to find out, Bear, who those permanent rivals are. Just really excited to see it. I mean, there's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of guesswork on who's going to play who. Does Georgia finally go to College Station? Like, dude, there's some of these matchups out there that we're excited to see, hopefully, that we get pumped on Tuesday night to see who's going to play who.
I'll tell you what the other underrated part of this is. Are we still going to have the schedules flipped? Because think about this. Texas this year. So when people talk about how Texas, with the preseason rankings, they faced off against 5 of the bottom 6 teams projected to finish in the lower half of the SEC. But then they were going to flip the schedules next year. So they would have to face off against Alabama. They'd have to face off against Florida. They'd have to face off against Georgia. They'd have to face off against all these other teams. Does that happen now? Or are we completely just washing that flip format this year? And now some teams are going to face off against the same teams they face off against this year. And so it's 3 years in a row they face off against them. That will be interesting to me. Now, we won't find out all of that information, but we'll figure out, hey, is that going to be something that actually does come into conversation?
I wonder too, Bear. I'm sure they'll do everything in their power to avoid this, but do you think there's any scenario we might have some teams facing off from this season again and playing at the same place? Is that a possibility?
Yes.
Can you imagine that? Like, Auburn's got to go back to Norman again. Like that would just, boy, that'd be a hard sell.
Florida with a brand new head coach where all the hype is coming on in. Night game at Death Valley once again with DJ Lang. Let's just do that for fun. Like, sure, why not?
Some of those could be cruel and unusual punishment, but it'll be a lot of fun. We'll get the 2026 schedule. We'll get the 3 permanent opponents. And again, Bear and I will be there on Tuesday night to react to it all. Bear, any other news and notes we missed on? It was a busy day in the SEC and college football. We hit on most of the things, obviously, relating to the games, who's playing, who's not, what have you.
Just anything else? I think that I'm pretty sure that's it.
Pretty sure that covers it. Guys, I'm going to get this ad read in the meantime. Y'all leave us some questions, some comments. If there's anything dire you want us to answer, we'd love to do it. If not, we'll go ahead and call it a night. But again, of course, as always, it is a great weekend for action. Let me actually check here really quickly, Bear. Let's see how we're doing tonight. I took the, and this is why Vegas. This is why we hate Vegas.
Please tell me you didn't take 12 and a half.
I took the Bills minus 11.5.
You're an idiot.
And they won by 10.
Yep. I took the Dolphins at plus 12 and a half. So I get the line. So the line when it first came out was at 12 and a half. I took it at 12 and a half. Boom.
I thought the Dolphins stunk, like really stunk. But I guess it's the NFL. They're always close.
Yep.
I don't know. Vegas is too good. Either way, though, you want to get on the action, maybe fade me and you'll win some money. Do so with our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's got you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5. And you'll get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season's here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. And once again, guys, as you know, it goes far beyond the NFL. College football, hey, the props. What do you think about Arch Manning? Is he going over? Is he going under?
Yeah.
Go throw some cash on it. We'll see.
All right, do it right now. Do it right now.
Do it right now. 248 and a half.
I'm telling you right now. Put your money on the line. What are you saying? Over or under?
I'm going under. I can't go over. I just can't do it.
I'm going to go bold. I'm going to say he goes over.
I hope he goes over.
I'm going against Sandman. I'm going against the comments. I don't care. I think he goes over. I think this is such a bad secondary. It's so bad. If you can't get 250, I might be worried about that.
Sandman says he's taking the under on every.
I'm taking Sam Houston to win with their spread. I'm doing that.
Yeah, 39 and a half. 39 and a half. Pretty big number with the way they.
That was almost one of my best bets too. That's sad. That's sad that was almost a best bet.
Good teams win, great teams cover. Indeed. We'll see if the Horns can cover for you, Sandman. We'll see. Bear, let's go ahead and call it a night. Again, really, really fun stuff, guys. The weekend gets underway in Columbia, Missouri. The SEC Unfiltered Tour is boots on the ground. Do not forget, the content continues to bleed out of the eyeballs. It's a jam-packed weekend. Happy hour on Instagram. Our boy Cole the Bear Thompson. We with you, 7 o'clock Central-ish?
7 p.m. Central time tomorrow.
7 Central time-ish.
Ish.
For the Bear. We'll throw the ish in there.
7:02 maybe, but still.
Just follow us on Instagram and you'll see it.
You probably should already be doing that, so just do it.
You should. We'll have live game reactions to a few different games on Saturday. Of course, Sunday Fun Day. We'll be back Sunday night reacting to everything that takes place this weekend. And again, I got a weird feeling shit's probably going to hit the fan and go sideways, and we're going to be sitting there on Sunday night wondering what in the world happened. But it's going to be a fun weekend. That is something I will guarantee. That is something I do not fear at all. And it's always a blast chatting with you guys. Bear, appreciate you, my man. Thank you all for tuning in on this Thursday, September the 18th, Thursday night. We love every single one of you. It's always a pleasure. Once again, guys, make sure you hit that like button. You hit that subscribe button on YouTube. We are creeping ever so close to 25,000 subscribers. And once we hit 25,000, then the race to 30,000 will be on. Then the race to 40,000, 50,000, 100,000. We're going to keep this thing going. We can't do it without your love and support. You guys mean the world to us. Follow along on all the social media channels. Of course, we'll be active all throughout the weekend. Go to our website as well, secunfiltered.com. And again, stay tuned on the big shit we're doing, man. Big shit's popping over at SEC Unfiltered as we continue to expand, grow, and only reinforce and hammer down the best SEC entity on the internet right here at SEC Unfiltered, and the best SEC football show on the internet right here, the Overtime Drive, with yours truly and Cole the Bear Thompson. Guys, again, he's Cole the Bear Thompson. I am Chris Phillips. We're going to sign off tonight. Appreciate y'all. Have a great weekend. So long from Como. We'll talk to you all on the other side. Cheers.